Yo, what is up, guys? Gamerverse back again, once again doing another video for you guys today, man. So today we are reviewing Quarantine Zone: The Lost Chick. If you guys haven't heard about it, this game is the more like a quite similar to the game where you actually have to check people's passports. I kind of forgot the name of that game, but it's a simulation game that is available on PC via Steam. The Quarantine Zone: The Lost Chick was released on January 12th this year, 2026, and it was developed by Brigada Games and then published by Devolver Digital. So it's a first-person zombie apocalypse game where you act as a quarantine officer in charge of making sure people do not come into the checkpoint as infected, because there is a big zombie outbreak. You've got to make sure that everybody that comes to the checkpoint is not infected, and there's quite more to it. It's not just about checking the checkpoint, but there's so much more to this game, and I have played a bunch of it, and I'm doing a review for you guys today. So go ahead, sit back, grab some popcorn, and tune in and stay tuned and get ready for the review. So first impressions on the game. I mean, the initial vibe when the game starts, it's different. It's quite different. It starts with you actually coming to the checkpoint, and we don't know your name or anything like that. We don't know a lot of information about the person that you play with at the start of the game, and the quarantine setting instantly increases, and it makes you uneasy throughout the game. But there's a lot of cool things that went into it. The sound design is cool. I like the environmental tension in the game. It's a different game, and it's one of those games that you just gotta play for yourself and see if you do like it. If you don't, I mean, it's all about you. If you don't enjoy a game, you don't play it, right? So yeah, so let's talk about the gameplay first. I want to talk about the gameplay, what you actually do in the game. So what you do in this game is you make sure that people that come through the checkpoint, these are all people seeking help, right? Because of the zombie outbreak, all of these people are seeking help, and it is up to you to ensure that they are healthy. If they are not healthy, you have to make the decision of sending them to the quarantine, or you send them to a survivors building where people go when they are healthy. But when you do send the people to quarantine, you've got to go back and then make double check on them, because they can't stay in quarantine forever. You got more people coming in. You got to make sure that your quarantine room has space. But as you play the game and a lot of things are upgraded, you get to expand your quarantine. You get to have a more bigger quarantine zone, and you get to expand your survivor building. You get to hold more survivors. So as the game goes, you get to upgrade these things. There's a skill tree, and you can upgrade particular things. But that's the basic repetition of the game. You gotta scan people who come through, and you are given a lot of tools. You are given a thermometer. You are given a scanner that can see underneath these people's clothes, actually. And there was a little bit of funny things happening in it, but it's all about routine in the game. And there are other things that you can also do. You can actually go around the base, and you actually have to make sure that the base stays intact. So you gotta manage a lot of things. You gotta manage the generators, you gotta manage the checkpoints. Sometimes zombies come to the wall of the checkpoint, and you actually use a drone to fight off these zombies. This will actually occur a couple of times throughout the game, where you actually have to fight off these zombies with this drone machine gun and this explosions, RPGs, and things like that. But you know that's something that happens while you do your checkings and all of that. It's just another feature that's added into the game, which I thought was really cool. Always nice to shoot some zombies. But yeah, that is the gameplay loop, guys. What happens in the game is a lot of moral choices that affects the game. So sometimes you might be doing the wrong thing. Sometimes you might let the wrong person through to the survivor building, and if you let somebody that's infected go amongst the people that are healthy, that person might get infected and then kill the people who are healthy, and then you've got a unnecessary death on your hands. And all of these can actually affect the gameplay and affect the ending that you get. So you got to make sure that you're on your toes, and you got to make sure that you send the correct people to the correct building. Do not send people who are sick to the healthy building or to the survivors building. Sometimes you also have to make the decision of sending people to the extermination room, or what, the liquidity room, or I think it's called something, the liquidity something. But those people are immediately marked as infected. So unfortunately, there might be no hope for them, or they die, or there's a lack of clear right or wrong decisions in the game. And like I said, moral choices affect the outcomes of the game. Consequences that will definitely hit later in the game's story. People that have certain symptoms, and the game has a quite in-depth system when it comes to checking these people at the checkpoint. It's not just all willy-nilly about it, but they go quite in depth with it. So you've got to make sure that the people's eyes are clear and all of these things. So red eyes would be a symptom. There's a lot of symptoms that you look through. So when you scan every person that comes through, you got to make sure that the symptoms that they have, is it a good thing or a bad thing? And if it's a good thing, they end up going to the survivors building and being healthy. But if it's bad, you got to make sure that you send them to quarantine or send them to the lab. You can even send them to the lab if there are new symptoms that develop in the game. You can actually send them to the lab and have them checked out by the doctors in your base. But it is storytelling without hand-holding. It's environmental storytelling, and I think the subtle narrative clues in the game is really good versus the direct exposition that you get with games that are quite similar, and it lets the player piece everything together. So there's always a lot of fear with letting in the right person, because sometimes you feel like you let in somebody healthy, and then, like I said, they go ahead and they might kill somebody, or they might break out in the base and they might kill the soldiers that you're working with. So there's a lot of emotional weight of denying or approving people to come into your base and at the checkpoint. So this game has a lot of like feelings of guilt, doubt, and second guessing your choices. But you just gotta go with your gut and then hope that you get the right outcomes. So the characters in the game and the human moments in the game, there are brief interactions in the game, and it feels a little bit impactful now and then. But there's a little dialogue, and with the little dialogue, there's actually a lot said. NPCs in the game stick with you even after the ending, but the game has, I think the game has more than 3 endings. I'm not particularly sure. The game has 2 distinct endings, so it's a good and the bad ending. So you can either get one of those, and it's a good ending and it's a bad ending. So these outcomes, like I said, depends on your performance over the 26 days that you have at your base. So it's, like I said, it's similar to the game where you have to check people's passports. And yes, that game is actually called Papers, Please, and you have to give people your papers. It might even be the same people that made that game. So it's similar to that. And yeah, I think Quarantine Zone does a really cool thing with this gameplay loop that they use and the style of the game. Next, I actually want to talk a little about the graphics. So the visual style and the presentation. The graphics isn't that bad. It's good for a game, a PC game. I think it's decent. The art direction and the lighting looks good. There's details in the game really support the mood of the game rather than distract it. And the audio in the game is decent. There's a lot of silence though, but there are background noises and things that you can hear, and then music when things get a little bit emotional or whatever. But the pacing of the game is different, so that kind of brings me to the difficulty. The tension in the game, how the game escalates over time, and as you go more over the days, you get downtime, but there's a lot of high pressure moments in the game, and tension drops a little bit. So you do get a little bit relaxation away from all of the checking if people are zombies thing. So yeah, I mean, in terms of the performance, in the technical state, the game is good. I didn't receive any stability issues, 0 bugs. I would say it's well polished in 2026, and it performs good on PC. I had all the settings to high, and I tested out medium. The game performed well. I got a steady 60 frames. I think 40, sometimes dropping to 40. 40 would be the minimum or the lowest frame rate. But that is the performance, guys. I mean, and replayability, like I said, there are two endings. So you can play the game twice if you want to, or if you do really enjoy it, you'll probably play it more than that. But I mean, the outcomes change your perspective on the game, and there's a value beyond the single playthrough. So let's talk final verdict. Who's the game for? My honest recommendation. I mean, players who enjoy like these slow burn psychological games. I think people who are fans of like moral choice driven narratives, and I think it will definitely gel more with you. And if you enjoyed Papers, Please games like that where you have to check and you are in a particular position and you have to play a role, so you'll probably like this game. And the choices do matter, and there's an emotional impact after finishing the game. But my honest recommendation, I say the game is a solid, I think it's a solid 7 out of 10. A 7 out of 10. Quarantine Zone, it is different, and it's not afraid to show how different it is. But it's one of those games that you play and you realize it can be a little bit addictive, but it just depends if you do like the gameplay loop. If you enjoy the gameplay loop, then you're definitely gonna play the game a lot and enjoy it. So Quarantine Zone right now is out on Steam. If you guys have Steam, if you have PC, unfortunately it's not available on console, but the game is going now for about $20 on the Steam store. So just under $20 for Quarantine Zone, The Last Chick. So let me know if you guys played Quarantine Zone, or if you're planning on playing it. If you have played it before and you're just checking out the video, I appreciate you. But go ahead and like the video if you enjoyed it. I do appreciate that too. And subscribe to my channel for some more awesome content like this, guys. I do appreciate that too. I've been Gamerverse, guys, and I will see you guys in another video.